Hey there, Robert Murphy with Elite Paranormal Society. I'm putting together a series of videos, and this is another one just to help people that are interested in the equipment that's out there, methods, techniques, just tricks of the trade. Today we're going to be talking about dowsing rods. Some people definitely believe in them, some do not. A lot of people have interest in them, want to find out what's going on. Dowsing has been around for an extremely long time. Dowsing was the original way that they actually looked for water. Whether it was basically a Y piece of stick, a stick that was shaped in the shape of a Y, they would hold both ends in their hands, and as that stick came across the water as they're walking, it would dip down, and so that's where they would actually go ahead and attempt to go ahead and drill and find out whether or not there was water there. It was actually a very effective method, rather than just going ahead and going, we're just going to go over here and give it a shot. It seemed to work out pretty well. There's terminology, dowsing or divining rods. You can call it either one, it really doesn't matter. Dowsing seems to be the most popular. Dowsing rods that we're using in the field are typically a simple L-shaped rod made of either brass or copper. I definitely prefer the copper. It just seems to be a little bit lighter weight, and just that's my personal preference. There's a sleeve, or there's a bead, or there's beads that are down this handle, and the whole point of that is that when you put your fingers there, you can't interfere with this rod. The rod comes through, and there's a little ball right there on the bottom that keeps it from sliding back out of the sleeve. So the point with the dowsing rods, first and foremost, is the credibility. A lot of people are worried about credibility of the dowsing rods, and given reasonable for that. If you can move your hands to make the dowsing rods move, obviously. It's not too hard, but I'll explain that in a minute. There's a new type of dowsing rod, newer form of dowsing rods, which are actually light up dowsing rods. So since a lot of us are doing investigations at night, these can definitely come into handy in a big way. Being able to have light up dowsing rods, you can't be in there playing Star Wars and whatnot. Too expensive for that. But to be able to have them light up and be able to show that on video is a tremendous aspect. I mean, it is absolutely fantastic. When I originally saw these I believe it was at the Battlefield Bash in Gettysburg when they were first up there, I wasn't even interested. I was thinking, man, those things are going to be too big and bulky and heavy. Come find out, they are extremely lightweight and very well balanced. Very, very well balanced. The company, I'm going to go ahead and put that out there right now, just so you know. I've got their card in front of me. I get nothing for it, it's just because I like the product, and I will push product that I like. If you go to NCPD Ohio, ncpdohio.com, they are the makers of these light up dowsing rods. For equipment, they might seem a little expensive, but the first time you get them in front of a camera, especially in the dark, you're going to understand they are so well worth it. Don't be shell-shocked with the price. I know they have different links, so the prices do run differently for that, but once you use them, oh man, they're a game changer when it comes to the dowsing rods. I absolutely like them. Dowsing rods in general, people are like, get a banana holder, get something that you don't have to hold them. The point of the dowsing rod is the energy, a spirit, whatever you want to call it, that's there. They're manipulating your energy to move them. And for some people it's going to sound far-fetched, for others you'll get it. But they do move from other influences. If you take dowsing rods to a cemetery, and you have the headstones going down across this way, if you were to walk parallel to where those headstones are and actually have your dowsing rods set apart, not touching the top, not touching the little bottom there, you hold them about shoulder width so that they're not going to hit each other, and just at separate heights, so when they rotate it's not a big deal. That's a live dog in the background, disregard. But as you walk across the graves, for some reason they will cross. And as you go through the other side of the grave, they will uncross. Now, to put a better challenge to that for those that are skeptical, which I understand being skeptical about it, here's a better step you can take. Go to the cemetery to do exactly that. But blindfold the person first. You can turn them around once or twice. Don't make them dizzy and so if they're walking into the headstones. But you can actually watch. And when the person gets so far, just tell them to stop. And then tell them to walk backwards. And even walking backwards, they will cross when they come over top of a grave. And they'll uncross. We've done this numerous times. It absolutely works. So it's not just water that these can react to. It's pretty amazing. Now, we get on a location, a lot of people use them and just are like, can you point to this? Can you point to that? I like going even further with that, especially if you have somebody that is gifted. Those are the people that really, I've had them work for me, and I am probably one of the least gifted people in the sense of being able to see, sense, or feel, and they have worked. And when they work, it's such an ominous feeling. Of course, you can see how bad I shake. When they work, it's such an ominous feeling because you're actually going to be feeling some type of energy like in the rods themselves, and you can feel that on your hands. It's really strange. But what I like to have everybody do is actually try to go ahead and have them slightly lean downhill. Because if something's in here, I want them to honestly manipulate it. And when we have cameras, I'll try to get a second camera coming from a different angle. I want the viewers to be able to see. This one in particular, you see the discoloration on the end. I actually used my daughter's glow-in-the-dark fingernail polish before I had the light ups, so that when I would charge them, and then when we go into the dark, I would be able to show them to the cameras. Having them leaning downhill slightly makes a difference. If I'm just about dead even, it's a lot easier for these to swing around. Granted, probably should be there. But for most of us, trying to hold them at that point is nearly impossible without us moving just a little bit, and all of a sudden now you get their swinging. But I like to take it a step further. Anybody that knows me knows that I like to have better evidence. What I'll do is, while our team medium, this is actually hers, she despises having them, and I really bug her a lot for this, but I'll actually have her hold the rods. And again, I'll have them lean down just a little bit. In the camera, you'll be able to see them on the camera. And instead of just having them point, we can start out with having them point to something or a person. You can name a person and say, hey, point to whomever. Point to the cameraman. Point to the only female in the room. And you want to watch and see if they interact. I go a step further. I like to go ahead and actually try to get them to swing all the way around. I'll say, okay, if you're in here, do me a favor. Take this and just follow me. Follow me. Come on around. And it'll get to a point where it's happened several times while we're live. That one will be swinging. Okay, I know people can think, okay, maybe the person is involuntarily manipulating them, and he or she's got it swinging. Even though you're watching the hand, let's just say that they're really good about it. But if I get a second one swinging the opposite way, and again, you have to really be close up on the hands because you want to make sure the hands are not doing what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to move them that I'm not being very successful about. I mean, I can move them, but I was trying not to move my hands very much. But once you have them swinging, I can turn around and say, okay, this one right here, stop. And while the other one's still swinging, this one will actually stop. And we've had that happen on multiple locations, multiple situations, in some form or another, just like that. That gets a lot more impressive. So don't limit yourself to just either to cross if the answer is yes, or uncross. And again, you have to watch the hands. You want to always watch the hands and see the level of the dowsing rods. People can be their worst enemy even with using dowsing rods. They can turn around and they don't mean to, but they end up unfortunately moving it. Again, people are like, well, put them in a holder. We have taped them to, we've taken bar stools upside down, we've taped them on there, said, hey, can you turn them? And to this day, we've not had the luck of that. But I want to go farther with it. I want to do blindfold tests. I want to do a little bit of everything so the person who's holding them can't even see which one I'm pointing at, telling it to turn. That's very important. But don't discredit dowsing rods. These rods are absolutely amazing. For video purposes, as far as for most of us who are doing a lot of our video work in the dark because we're actually investigating, being able to see where these are actually setting at, how level they are, is extremely important. but then seeing the reaction is absolutely amazing. And when you can do it live, or you can make sure that whatever you're doing is uncut and people can actually still see your hands, that's extremely, extremely important. Again, the manufacturers of these glow-in-the-dark, I'm not going to turn the light out right now, but you can see how different it comes up. The manufacturer, if you go onto their website, it's ncpdohio.com. ncpdohio.com. Check out their dowsing rods. If you're serious about dowsing rods, it's worth checking out. If you want to have an awesome time when you're around crowds of people, this is a visualization that will really stick in a lot of people's minds. And again, be your own worst critic as far as make sure if you try to put them dead on balance, they can swing a lot easier. But if they're slightly tilted downhill to a point that the camera can definitely see, and I'm not saying go down like that, but if they're constantly downhill and yet that starts to swing and it swings uphill and people can see that, and we even have them where they'll swing one direction and then ask them to change directions, and just as fast as they're going in one direction, they'll actually switch back and go the opposite direction. But if they're swinging uphill, again, it makes it extremely hard to debunk when that's actually happening. It's worth trying, even though it's more the old school style with some new school technology to it, which is fantastic. I'm a big believer in the old school. I things that cannot be manipulated besides by the person holding them, but if you actually can definitely see that they're tilted down slightly, then it's going to be a lot harder for them. They're going to definitely have to move their hands to make them move around, and you should be able to see that. But that's my little tip about dowsing rods. Don't discredit them. Definitely give them a shot. For those that are sensitive, whether you're a psychic, a medium, a sensitive, empath, these tools right here can really be pretty amazing. And again, I've had them work for me, but they don't work nearly as much as they do for like my medium. They definitely work a lot better with that. I've had them follow me while she's holding them. I've got a video of that. I was wearing my necklace. They are not sensitive to my necklace at all. It's not like my necklace is magnetized. It was actually these rods that I'm holding right now. And I'll go to them and even check to see whether or not it's going to pull. But if I'm standing back and no matter where I go, the rods would follow me. I got even to a point where I kind of act like I was going to go one way or the other, and the rods would kind of fake back and forth and try to match my movement, which was pretty impressive. So, dowsing rods or divining rods, whatever you want to call them. You might not have used them. If you do use them, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but don't rule them out. It's some old school technology that is super, super cool. And these new light ups are even better. The only thing, little tip, is you want to keep them far enough apart that they're not going to clash with each other. And of course, you want to keep them at just separate angles so that they can swing over top of each other freely, but watch your eyes. Make sure they're not going to hit your eyes. So, check them out. That's my tip of the day. Good luck with it. If you get some good evidence from it, we would love to see the video of it. So feel free to send it to us. You can always go ahead and message us on Facebook. Look us up on www.facebook.com/elite, ELITE, para, PARASOC /. I'd love to see what you guys get. Good luck and happy hunting. Keep at it.